What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Wednesday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast with me, Matt Perrault, at Sports Talk Matt, to follow me on the socials. This podcast being brought to you by omahasteaks.com. You go to omahasteaks.com, enter in juice in the search bar, and you guys are going to activate a gigantic savings on the hotter than fire sale that's going on right now. Fillets, boneless chicken breast, pork chops, and they're going to give you 12 free Omaha steak burgers, all for under $100. This is a ton of food for less than $100. 5 generations of family-owned expertise means uncompromising quality you guys can trust. Omaha Steaks, backed all of it by their unconditional 100% money-back guarantee. Omaha Steaks isn't just steaks, it's the best steak of your life. It is a guarantee. Promo code is JUICE at omahasteaks.com in the search bar for the hotter than fire pick to get all this food, all your grilling favorites for under $100 at $99.99, including those 12 free Omaha steak burgers. Okay, 2-1 night last night. So 1-1, 2-1. Welcome to the worst day of the betting calendar. There's nothing that is even remotely interesting to me. I might add a summer league game. We're 2-1 in the summer league. I might add one bet. Okay, maybe. Good shot that I'm just going to take the day-to-day off today. But this podcast is about making picks and bets every single day. So I have to give you bets. I'm going to give you 2 college football bets. All right? It's July. But I know this is the time you can get numbers that will make sense. This is the time you'll get numbers that actually can help you later in the year. Now, I understand a lot of you don't like having your money tied up for basically 2 months. I understand that. So if you want to wait, you can. These are bets I have made. These are plays I like. And these are positions I think are worth taking in the summertime when not everyone is paying attention, because I can tell you these numbers are going to move. All right? I have a national championship bet, and I have a first or week 2 game bet that I want to give you. And the number is already moving at certain books. Even as we speak, the number is being moved. Now, I just want a number. I like the number. I'm going to play it. These are both 1-unit plays. Tomorrow, I will give you my first college football win total bet, which I like to go to. A bet that I like to go over. We'll do that tomorrow, okay? This is just where we are, guys. Okay, this is a very wonky period. Friday, baseball comes back. Saturday, there's a UFC card, even though I was horrible last weekend in the UFC. We will get into other things as we roll through July. We're getting closer to August. We're getting closer to college football, but I just have to give you these bets right now because I think these are going to move. Let's start with Michigan, the Wolverines. Michigan, man, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm falling in love, but here in Vegas, BetMGM has the Michigan Wolverines to win the national championship at 9-1. The Westgate, one of the very respected books, is already down to 7-1. You can find this 9-1 number at BetMGM, either in Vegas or outside of Vegas. Let's first start with the Michigan schedule, all right? They play East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, and Rutgers at home to start the year. They don't leave their friendly confines for the month of September. 4-0. Then they go to Nebraska. Then they go to Minnesota. While the Minnesota game might be a little tricky, WW. Then they play Indiana at home. W. At Michigan State. Michigan State's not going to be good this year. W. Open date. Then Purdue at home. At Penn State, ruh-roh, at Maryland, and then home against Ohio State for the chance to win a 3rd consecutive game, the game against Ohio State. That's a schedule they can run the table. They can run the table. They also might wind up in potentially, playing Ohio State again. But I think when you look at this rivalry, this is John Harbaugh's team. They very well might run the table in the Big Ten. They went 13-1 last year, went 9-0 in the Big Ten. Harbaugh's in his 9th year. This is a huge opportunity for him because he has the best quarterback, arguably, in the Big Ten. J.J. McCarthy has been in the system. J.J. McCarthy has played in the playoffs. J.J. McCarthy has got a dynamic offense that he's going to get to run. They're going to run the rock like crazy this season. I can't wait to watch this. The fact that they've got Blake Corum back is such a big deal to me. They're going to be able to run the ball on literally anyone. They're getting other guys back as well. Donovan Edwards, who came up big late in the year, he could be a major weapon for this team as well. 5th in the nation, number 1 in the Big Ten last year, and they're going to be even better at running the football this season. It is Michigan with this offensive line, with this quarterback, and this offense that's really predicated on pounding people. I love this for Michigan. J.J. McCarthy now is an NFL prospect, star quarterback, a chance to go high in the draft, a chance to really prove what he's capable of doing this season. They've got a receiving core that's going to be good, a couple of transfers coming in. The defense at Michigan is always good. They've always got talented players. They've always got guys running around the ball. Edge rushers you got to be wary of. Get guys who can get after the quarterback. Great linebackers again coming up for Michigan. It's 9-1 for them to win the national championship. Before you say, Matt, Harbaugh chokes in the playoffs, we don't need him to get all the way to the title game. Just get us into the playoffs again. If Michigan makes the playoffs that 9-1, we can play with it. We can play off of it. Heck, you can even play off of it in the Big Ten championship game if you want. If they make it and if they lose, they'll be out of it. You can bet against it because you got the 9-1, right? You can make back that one unit really easy when you have a 9-1 ticket on Michigan to win it all, knowing what they've got. I just gave you their schedule, okay? Penn State is going to be a problem. There's no debating that game. I mean, my co-host on BVB, on Bostonian versus the Book, wants to go. We may have to go because Penn State's going to be really good. Their quarterback is a question, right? Quarterback questions at Penn State. Quarterback questions at Ohio State, okay? Iowa's not going to be all that great. Michigan State's going to be down. Indiana, Purdue. There's no one in the Big Ten you're really all that concerned about. Minnesota. This is Michigan's year. This is the year for them to, Ohio State's going to be Ohio State, okay? And Ryan Day wants to get that W because he's been hearing about it forever. The game's at Michigan, though, all right? The game is in Ann Arbor. Huge opportunity for Michigan to win that game for a 3rd straight year and for Michigan to get themselves into a college football playoffs. Just making the playoffs, okay? You can bet them just to make the playoffs, but I'd rather have the 9-1 to play off of it. One unit. The Michigan Wolverines to win the national championship. I know people are going to go crazy at this and you're going to laugh and get angry. Ohio State fans are going to rip on me. That's fine. I like this Michigan team a lot, and I mean a lot this year. Every year I adopt a team. Like, I'm an SEC guy. Okay, you're going to hear me talk a ton about the SEC. I think the SEC is down this year. I think LSU's got a chance to make a lot of noise this year. I think LSU is going to be a big problem for a lot of teams in the SEC. I think Alabama's got big quarterback problems. More on them here in just one second. I think you've got Georgia also with quarterback questions. Georgia, a ton of first-round draft picks off that team. I know they just restock and roll, but it's still a question mark for me in terms of what Georgia's going to look like with the talent drain they had last season. It's going to be really interesting. Tennessee, I wish Hooker was going back, man. If they had Hooker at quarterback next year for Tennessee, Vols could be a big problem in the SEC West. Not really feeling it too much there. But, Florida's going to replace a first-round pick, top 10 quarterback selection in Anthony Richardson. So there's a lot of questions for me in the SEC. Doors open for Michigan. If Harbaugh's going to win the national championship, this might be his best shot. This year might be the best shot before Texas and Oklahoma go to the SEC, before we see other conferences realigning and moving around, before the Big Ten tries to do whatever the heck they're going to do with UCLA and USC joining, blah, blah, blah. Michigan, 9-1. BetMGM's got that bet. One unit on the Wolverines to win the national championship here for the college football season. Now, there's a number, and I bet numbers a ton, okay? The second team I really like a lot this year is Texas. And they've got 3 quarterbacks. Quentin Ewers is probably going to be the guy, but Arch Manning could very well be playing at some point during this season if they have any type of slip up, okay? Texas plays Rice in week 1 at home. They're 38-point favorites, something like that. They're going to kill them, okay? Then they play at Alabama. Now, will Texas win enough games to make the college football playoffs? If they beat Alabama, they'll be well on their way. They play Rice at Bama, Wyoming at Baylor, should be a win. Kansas at home, Oklahoma and Dallas for Red River, open date at Houston, home for BYU, home for Kansas State, at TCU, at Iowa State, and home for Texas Tech. The thing you need to realize about Texas and their football schedule, Texas leaves the state of Texas 2 times all year. At Bama, at Iowa State. Every other game is in the state of Texas. That's not going to happen in the SEC. This is the year. I mean, literally, this is, if you want to talk about opportunities before they go to the SEC, this is the opportunity for Texas. It is unreal what their schedule looks like. TCU will be dangerous, obviously. Oklahoma is going to be a concern. They're the second favorite team to go ahead and do this. They can't have 2 losses. 1 loss and a Big 12 championship gets Texas into the college football playoffs. But that's not the bet that I like here because I don't know about Texas. They make me a little bit concerned just about where they'll go and what they'll wind up doing. I'm not in love with this, but they beat Alabama. Everything changes. They should have beaten Alabama at home last year. The number is 7. 7. Bama -7. Here's the problem for Alabama. Their quarterback situation is an absolute mess. They got 4 guys who are all vying for a starting spot, and whoever wins the position, they got 1 kid who can't throw, unbelievable athlete, can't throw. They got a kid with totally untested, in the system for a year, but totally untested in week 2 with Texas coming in ferociously mad. I know Nick Saban does not lose games at home, okay? And he very well might find a way to win. He may find a way to stop this running attack. He may find a way to stop Sarkisian, and he has owned his assistant coaches. There's no debate. But 7 points is too many points. It's too many points in this game. This number is not going to be anywhere near 7 once it goes to kickoff. This number, in my gut reaction, we're talking 4, 4.5, okay? So we're trying to get really early CLV on this. You can sprinkle Texas money line. In fact, I would sprinkle Texas money line to beat Alabama, shocking everyone. I know every single number. You don't got to remind me. I bet SEC football all the time. Saban at home. Saban in the non-conference. Saban against a former assistant. He is dominated and owned. But he should have lost this game last year. And all Texas is going to think about all camp long is the road trip to Tuscaloosa to take on Alabama. They're going in there with a mission against a shaky offense that's going to have to get their deer legs underneath them. It's a chance for Texas to pull out and pull off the upset. Texas has a great running attack. I know you're not going to replace Bijan Robinson, okay? You're not replacing that talent, but they've got guys behind him who can run the football. They've got great wide receivers, okay? As I mentioned, 3 quarterbacks, really 2 quarterbacks they can roll with, they can put out there. Their receiving corps is going to be absolutely nasty, okay? Last year, Bama's secondary had problems. Look at LSU. Look at Tennessee in those games. Do they shore that up? Maybe. Or maybe Texas can take advantage of that. They can't turn the football over, obviously. They got to establish the run. But I think Texas is going to be right there like they were last year with a chance to beat Alabama. Give me the dog. Texas +7. Numbers at FanDuel, -118 right now. You got to lay a little more juice. Other books are already at 6.5, okay? We want 7. Key numbers, as we talk about in college football, key numbers are going to be monster. So important. 3, 4, 6, 7. 7 matters, okay? Big difference between 6.5 and 7. Big difference between 7.5 and 7, okay? Other books are at 6.5 already. It shows you where the number is going to go this summer. It's going to go down. Take it now. Texas +7 on the road, week 2, September the 9th in Tuscaloosa. Biggest game in the preseason. Remember, Bama normally plays a non-conference game in week 1 on a neutral field. This home and home with Texas, they went there last year. almost lost. They're back at home. Here comes Texas looking for revenge. Not positive they get it, but they're going to scare the holy heck out of the Crimson Tide. +7, take the dog. Texas, +7, 1.18 units down on that. It's our first bet of the college football season for 2023. All right? Look, I may have a summer league play in the Discord channel, bettingpros.com/chat, bettingpros.com/chat. I may have a summer league play for you guys here in just 1 second or later today, maybe not. But speaking of the Discord channel, I'm going to ask for a favor here from you guys, if you can. So on my Twitter account, you guys may have seen what I've been talking about involving my brother. So my brother turns 44 coming up on Friday. He runs an organic farm in Western Massachusetts called Mountain View Farm. It's kind of funny. I'm now divorced, but I was married on that farm. My brother and I have been through a lot together. His family is going through a traumatic, awful thing that's got nothing to do and no fault of their own. There have been 2 floods in the history of recorded time in Western Massachusetts in July. The Connecticut River, which is where one of his major fields, 2 of his big fields, he farms 3 big fields, 2 of which now are completely underwater. The second flood ever in recorded history is happening right now in Western Massachusetts. The first time happened in 1973. This is now the second time. On our Discord channel, I added everybody, but there is a GoFundMe account being set up to help my brother who has lost hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of crops and maybe the ability to farm the land for years. When you flood like this, there are all sorts of things that go into the soil. And oftentimes the fields are not usable. They are completely ruined for years. This can decimate his business, and he employs so many people all summer long, all the way into the fall and even into the winter time when they go to a skeleton crew. These are people who depend on my brother for their livelihood. And right now, he's not sure he can pay them. They're trying to raise money, trying to keep the business afloat until they can figure out what's going to happen. If you go to the Discord channel, search at Sports Talk Matt, bettingpros.com/chat, you will see a link. There will also be a link pinned to the top of my Twitter account and my Threads account at Sports Talk Matt, both there, where you can find that link to the GoFundMe page. $1, 50 cents, $2, whatever, it doesn't matter. I have asked you guys before. Normally, it's been to helping other family members. Maybe, if you're an OG, you remember what happened with Daryl, who had the brain tumor. We raised money to help him, and now my ex-sister-in-law, but help them through the extremely difficult time. And unfortunately, Daryl did pass away from an inoperable. I guess he had an operation for the brain tumor, but just a horrible situation. So I know I've come to you guys hat in hand a lot, but this is my brother. And this is my brother's 44th birthday coming up, and they are a wreck of a family. And they're really, really scared about what's going to happen. They hate asking for help. They are not the types to ever ask for help, but they are asking for the community's help and asking people to help them keep people employed. This is to pay their employees and to keep people, having not to fire them and lay them off due to no fault of their own. A historic flood. If you're in Vermont or Maine or Massachusetts, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, this is the worst natural disaster in the state of Vermont since 1927. Okay? In Western Mass, this doesn't happen, but it is happening, and it's been a huge problem. So I'm going to thank you ahead of time for whatever you can do. The link, again, on top of my Twitter account, at Sports Talk Matt, or my Threads account, but also on the Discord channel, bettingpros.com/chat. Just go and search at Sports Talk Matt. You'll see the link to the GoFundMe page for my brother. Mountain View Farm is the farm in Western Massachusetts. You can Google it, look it up, go on Instagram and look at the pictures. It's completely devastating what's going on. The amount of flood water that they're dealing with right now, it's unprecedented. It's unexpected and unprecedented. So thank you so much. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me again on all socials at Sports Talk Matt. This podcast being brought to you by our friends at OmahaSteaks.com. Every morning, it's the Daily Juice.